Welcome everybody. It is I, Jamie Hutber from the Hutber and Lionel show. I think that's what we've donned our official name as now. It feels like anyway. And we obviously are back, which means we're 3 weeks in a row now. 3 glorious weeks when this one goes out for our content. I'm shaking a lot there. Sorry about that.
Mini Matters, a miniature and painting podcast.
Right, so we are back. This is Hello Lionel, obviously.
Hey, you thought you'd think I'd be used to when you're coming in on me now, but I'm not.
Yeah. Nothing wrong with it. Interestingly, I went out on on Friday night for my football league awards, right?
Okay.
So when you win something, you get invited to the league awards, and we went to the awards. Yeah, blah blah blah. Picked up the thing, and then we went out to the club, and it was a heavy night. I didn't know you could buy bottles of alcohol in a club. Well, I didn't know that.
All the big ballers do. They always get a bottle, don't they?
Yeah, I'm not a baller until Friday. So when I found this out, I bought 2 bottles, not realising, because obviously it's my team, so I've got to take the boys out a little bit. But fucking hell, when you do drink,
I'm guessing there was no paints or pallets there to buy. So you thought, how else can I spend my money? I know.
Bottles. Well,
I peered away on bottles.
I don't particularly enjoy the fact that you're segregated. Like they get put in this little roped area and stuff. So that part I didn't enjoy.
Oh, what, when you buy the bottle?
Yeah. And they're like, "Oh, come here, sir," and I'm like, "I'd rather. Can't you just leave us here?" And but anyway, that's one side. But the real point was, things did get messy because we drank a lot of alcohol very quickly. And there were 9 of us, it wasn't too many, but it wasn't like a full football team. But a couple of the lads were like, I was like, right, I'll do another highlights video, and I'll put because I took loads of photos during the night, and I'll put the photos at the end. And they were like, oh yeah, that's fine. Just don't put any incriminating photos at the back of the video, please, because they're public figures or they're going for jobs maybe that would require them not to be sleazebags. And in some respects, it reminds me of us, where we can't do anything too bad. Not that we would anyway, right?
Yeah, I just think you indirectly call me a sleazebag.
No, that's not. It's more like guilty by association. More like if I do something that's like on the cusp of okay, like if I swear. And you don't really swear, so if I swear and you're here, in theory you're happy with me swearing. That's obviously I will say that's not true. I'm not calling you a sleazebag, no, but I like that. That's where you thought I was going with that.
Well, you did use the word. Don't do anything that makes us look like sleazebags. And that reminds.
That was the lads. That was the lads, though.
Right,
yeah.
Okay.
As in, what they're getting annoyed about or sensitive about is different from.
Yeah.
Yeah. The key point was, I can't remember. There was more of a reason why it linked in, to it.
I mean, what I got from that is when you go out, you spend a lot of money on bottles of alcohol.
Didn't do that before.
And you hang around with a bunch of sleazebags. That was my takeaway.
Yeah. Well, one of the guys doesn't speak English, but everyone, half my team speaks Spanish, and
Okay.
it was like the rest is English. So half the team's Colombian, half the team's English, basically.
Oh, wow.
And there's one Colombian lad who's come over. He's been here a year or something. He doesn't speak English, but everybody loves his guts so much because he's 5'5". He tries really hard. He's good, but it's just funny.
Yeah.
And wait, I can't remember the point here. Am I saying that he's a sleazebag because he's not a sleazebag?
Yeah, I think. I think maybe stop talking while you've still got a few friends left.
I don't do that, do I?
I have to say though, you did upload on your trying to bring it back as well to the audience. Yeah, no, you did upload some of the footage or editing you'd done for that highlights reel for the football.
Yeah,
and I have to say, watching it made me think, oh, actually, you should be able to do a really good reel for the for Expo. Yeah, for Expo in terms of the coverage and the way you cut it together. If we can, if you can do something like that for our coverage at Expo, it should be
if we
quite
can
good to watch.
if we can get like decent footage, because that kind of like in theory that plays like a trailer, doesn't it? In a way,
Yeah,
if you understand what I mean.
And and obviously that's stuff you've recorded over a whole season, I presume.
Yeah,
And
yeah, exactly. So there's a lot of footage. That's the hardest part of editing. I think a video is cutting through all the crap, because I film with 10 cameras a game, and
do you?
yeah, there's like eight of those cameras are just in the goal, so the angles are always consistent. It's two at the top, two at the bottom on each goal, and obviously there's two
You've
goals.
got 8 cameras.
Well, I've got 12 cameras, but
Wow,
I only shoot with they're not like cinema grade cameras. They're just GoPros.
that's still a lot.
They're really good. The GoPro 10s, bloody hell, Lionel. They're 5.2K, I think. I think 5.2. The maths makes sense. And they're still 60 frames a second, which is fascinatingly good. And I spent a lot of time. I bought all these battery packs because they were running out after 40 minutes, which is a half a football, Lionel. And
I'm not that versed with football, but I do know it's a 90-minute game.
yeah.
So thanks, Jamie.
Just it's not just for you; it's the listeners, the viewers, right? You've got to cater for everyone.
Right, okay.
I want to make a racial stir here as well, but
so basically, a sleazebag bag who doesn't understand the basics of football.
yeah, exactly.
And that's the end of today's episode, guys. Because I'm
4 minutes or 6 minutes. Yeah, you've got the good stuff. Get out. What's the point here? Cameras are good. Okay, that's the point. And no, the point was you've got that much footage. It's really hard to go through and find stuff that's interesting. So for SMC, it should just be a lot easier to find. It's just about, do we record good moments? That'll be the thing.
Yeah. I mean, when I saw that, because obviously when we covered it, and I can't remember, it was the video before, but I think we might as well highlight it now. A lot of the people who did comment in the video said, although they want to hear from vendors and they want to see that kind of coverage, they were more interested, understandably, bearing in mind the content we do on this channel, they were more interested in the painting competition, seeing all the entries.
Yeah, because that's unique, isn't it?
Yeah, so what we're thinking actually is we will use Instagram Live for all the vendors' interviews, because we just think it lends itself better to that sort of stuff. And then we will use Jamie's decent cameras and setup to cover the painting competition. And that will be obviously to do an aisle walk of everything that's there and commentary. So that, I think that's going to be the feature we upload onto the YouTube channel as a proper production. And then the vendor stuff will be just Instagram Live. Sorry, Jamie.
Fine, no. No, I thought you'd finished. Yeah, I think what I will be trying to do interviews with the artists purely as a personal interest as well. They won't be in depth or anything. They'll, just like basically what you guys did last time.
Yeah, I think that's the main feeling I'm getting, is that's what the audience want to see. So all the stuff around the painting culture they want to see. The stuff in terms of the vendors they're interested in, but probably not as YouTube videos on this channel, because it does make sense that you could be looking at something 2 years down the line and thinking, well, I don't know where those vendors are. So if you are interested in that kind of content, what we would say is we do normally put links to our social media. Start following our Instagram and Facebook now, more so Instagram, because all Facebook is a direct copy of what is uploaded on Instagram. Start following that now, because that's where you're going to see the live coverage of the event. And then what you'll get on here afterwards is probably a more sanitized episode, which will go out significantly later, probably.
2 points here. The first quick one was the reason. So the real bottleneck I've had for the last 7 years now is that Linux didn't have a video editor. So, and I hate dual booting. You're just in the middle of having fun at life, and then you have to turn the PC off, boot into Windows to edit with Adobe Premiere. And since I've made the switch to DaVinci Resolve, and I managed to get it working on Linux, which is not supported officially on my Linux distribution, but with a little bit of hackery, I got it working. And it's the best video editor I've used. And it meant that video editing is actually kind of fun now. Whereas before it was such a chore to go into Adobe, blah 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 blah. Whereas this just works out. So I find it a lot less daunting, or like before the thought of editing something, I was just like, I just don't want to do it. Whereas now, I don't mind editing because it is easy and actually fun. Like even like the small interactions of like zooming in and cropping and moving stuff like inline and stuff. I knew how to do that stuff, but it still wasn't a pleasurable experience to do it. And now obviously I can. So yeah, I'm more inclined to try and do some video. And like I'd be really curious to know from the listeners or watchers, I suppose viewers if you're doing both. So people have said they don't want they don't want retailers, the pieces of shit. But I'd still be curious if we're already there. Would you like and we upload, because the interviews we do, like the ones you do with Broken Toad, Beyond Miniatures, not Beyond Bold Miniatures, they were a little bit selling, but they were more getting to know the people behind the business, and I found that quite interesting because I was a viewer then. So if we're covering both the basically, would people watch or be interested in meeting the retailers, and we cover the painting competition? But yeah, we do live and maybe record it as well.
Yeah, because I think the thing that with that is you're probably going to have to do dual interviews, aren't you? Because live, you're essentially going to have a phone up amongst your faces here. You'll finish that, then you're going to have to set up your camera, because what you don't want is a camera of me or you holding up the iPhone. So it'll be a dual.
I think I've got a solution. However, the audio shared between. So I've got it's called a small rig on my cinema camera, right? Which is basically a metal frame around it, and around the whole thing there's like not hundreds, maybe 50 different I forgot what they're called, but they're like 3.5mm screw holes for. Right. Essentially, I'm saying I can attach the phone to my camera, and we can record at the same time. And what we'll want to do is have the wireless microphones, obviously on whoever's doing the interview, and if we can split them to the phone and the record, the camera, then we can literally hit live on the phone and hit record on the camera, and it will be the same. And then our work, I don't know why viewers care, but our workflow won't be as complicated. Fuck the viewers anyway.
Right.
Not really.
Okay.
Yeah, not really. So yeah, that's what I'm hoping will. And I've got these. I don't know. I think it'll work. If it doesn't work, then yeah, we probably won't be bothered with two, because why would we?
Yeah. I think, and like I said, the other thing about it as well is what we found when we did it last time is we recorded a lot, and then when it came back to sorting out once you get home, because you get convention fatigue coupled with, I'm so past that now because I lived it for 3 days. I don't want to look at it again. No, I think we'd be better off in terms of the YouTube content. We'd be better off focusing on something,
give the people what they want,
competition, and knowing we can deliver, than recording interview after interview after interview, and then coming back and then trying to. But bearing in mind, we will then try to maintain our weekly schedule as well. It then becomes a lot of work, doesn't it?
Yeah, we don't really want work right now, but hopefully with the editing, it's less of a workflow. But can you do polls on Instagram?
Yeah, I think so.
Because it would be good, because one person's commented saying, like, guys, are you still going to cover the painting competition? And obviously we are. That was probably our primary thing that we wanted to cover.
Yeah.
But I'd be curious to know, like, the average viewer, what like, is there any value? Because if no, I mean, it's hard to say from comments, isn't it? Because we get like, and we've had the best, or we've enjoyed the comments this week from so keep them coming.
Really encouraging. Yeah.
Because as you said, Lionel, what we've noticed is we had we had shit. Right, let's come back because I forgot my train of thought as well.
Encouraged by the comments.
So up on pause, by the way. Yeah, obviously. That was it. You were saying that, and it's true. Where we had people watching before, and we all, like you and I, became a bit disillusioned with all the interviews we did that weren't going well. Like, people obviously don't know it or see it because we didn't go out with them, but just all the riffraff. And now we're back, and people are commenting that they're good that we're back, but we've never seen them comment before. shows that people were enjoying the content that we didn't realize people were enjoying the content, and that's been encouraging for us. So we deeply
it was
appreciate it.
It was nice to see first-time commenters in the last video, actually, who obviously from the kind of comments they left are regular viewers, so that was nice.
Yeah, they weren't berating us either for being numbskulls. I don't know who takes more of the blame here for the technical issues, because in a way it's not your fault, because you're not a technical person, and in a way it's all my fault. But then it's a shame to put all that blame on one person. I feel like it should be a distributed team. We are smooth sailing now. We've learned a lot in our time, haven't we?
Jury's still out there.
Look how quickly we got
to have a few episodes where we're tech issue free before we're
like last week it was quality.
Yeah,
except for we had a fear, but this week I was up and running in 7 minutes, Lionel.
Yeah, which is fast for us.
We went 4 hours. We won't harp on about it, but and like we regularly it would be an hour each thing, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
Like we should get back onto the models.
Yeah, definitely. So what's our first piece of news? Which one are you going to lead with? Throw something up to see what we've got.
Oh, the first exciting piece of news is Dragonhead Models is going to be at SMC.
Oh, is it?
Not really.
So in 2023?
No, this year. Our now's going to take. Oh. So I'm just going to so he's going to sell my models. So if you want to buy,
it's just when he said SMC.
Oh, it's not SMC. Yeah. Both. I don't know if they both knew.
It's painful. The amount of times we talked about it, and we're going to cover the event, and you still think it's SMC.
Wait. Do you understand what it is? Do you get it right?
What?
That it's not SMC.
It's World Expo. It's World Model Expo.
Basically, Albert messaged me after the thing went out, and he was like, "By the way, you've got to stop calling it SMC. It's not SMC."
Oh, wait. What do you mean? Do I understand? Every time you say that, I correct.
Really?
We even had a whole discussion on SMC is there every year, but this year World Model Expo is taking over. SMC's taking a break. We had a huge discussion about it.
I get it. No, I get it. Obviously, I've always got it.
You know what? When World Expo's back next year, and we're covering it, now I'm doing it. When SMC is back next year,
I'll call it World Expo.
You'll start calling it
I
World
probably
Expo.
will. Look, for the gifted such as I, who find all that stuff, it's all the same to me. The names aren't important, and in a court of law, you might argue that's a bad thing, and I would agree. Anyway, point is, World Expo. Oh, well, actually, the point was Albert messaged me. It was like, "You've got to stop calling that." And then Arnau, like half an hour later, said the same thing, and I was like, "Do you both like? Did he tell you to tell me that, or is that not?" Yeah.
It's because every time you make reference to it, you call it SMC, and even to the point where it's like, do I correct him anymore?
Yeah, he's broken. Let it.
But particularly when we're covering the event, it's like covering the World Cup and calling it the Euros.
Yeah, that would be bad. I just think you're an imbecile. Do you even like football?
Yeah.
Okay. Right. Yeah. So the actual point was, Dragonhead will be sold at Beyond Miniatures. So if you want,
he's done the courtesy of stocking your model, and you haven't even remembered his company name.
Oh no, I paused it so no one knew that I didn't remember.
Oh, okay, sorry.
But now you've called me out, so I was going to call it Arnau Miniatures, and that's because I built his website. Well, actually, he did pretty much all the building. Beyond, I host it. That was all I really do.
With Alejandro, his partner.
Alejandro. So, yes, Beyond Miniatures will be Beyond Miniatures.
Look, we're going to go there and interview them. So
yeah, but people now watching, they'll be like, "Oh yeah, I can't wait to go to Expo World," and I love Dragonhead Miniatures. So I love Beyond Miniatures. It's a bloody brilliant plan, and then they'll go and they'll be like, "Oh, and I'll be there behind the thing." I won't be. This is so cool. Look at that bloody. Anyway, if you want to buy one,
you should actually do all the interviews, so that way you're forced to learn the name and retain
embarrassing for them
and retain the knowledge.
Yeah, I retain knowledge really well. Okay, so today's topic of choice is paints. Do we need them?
No, that was left.
No, that would be good though. Be a hard thing to try and argue against it. We could do like a debating team where I have to debate an impossible thing.
Okay, so this first piece of news is a bit of an unusual feature. The reason being is it's about a Kickstarter, which is already finished. So you can't pledge on it anymore. But that being said, when it was live, it came about when we were having a break. We were on a break, Rachel, when we were having a break, and it caught my eye, and I really liked it, so much so that even though you can't back it now, I still want to mention it because I think it's still going to be coming to mass market after they deliver to their backers, I think. And it's been done by Bold Miniatures, and Bold Miniatures will be one of the vendors that we will seek out at the event because they are listed as being there, and then we'll clarify all this with them later. But the reason I wanted to cover it is because for me, when there's been some fairly, I'll say it, fairly uninspiring sculpts recently, in the sense that they're all good, but they're all a bit samey.
Dragon head,
yeah. Where you can kind of see them coming, and they don't bring much in terms of artistic difference. This little campaign really stood out. So what you've got here is you've got 5 characters that they've released, and they're Dungeons and Dragons inspired in terms of a traveling party.
It looks like Craftworld punted that one, or all of them maybe.
Well, there you go. So so what you've got there is basically Dungeons and Dragons inspired. So you've got your rogue, you've got your mage and warrior and whatnot. But I really like the sculpts and the way they've been identified in terms of they're not quite chibi-ish, but they're not quite serious. I can't pick. I suppose it's an anime style. I don't know what you're picking up from seeing it.
It's not quite anime, is it? It's a westernized anime almost. It's like a cross between anime and Disney somehow.
Yeah. And I really do like the sculpts, and as you've highlighted, Jamie, which is quite obvious from the way it's been painted, they've been painted by the Craft World studio, and I think their style has really lent itself as well to the sculpts. And in terms of harmonies, I think it's a really nice project. The colors they've been, I mean, that's a beautiful sculpt, and the way it's been rendered and painted is really nice. For me, it stood out. And like I said, when I look at all this stuff, thinking about what we're going to cover in news, you kind of get desensitized to a lot of stuff. And a lot of stuff is pretty uninspiring when you think, oh, let's cover it, or it's popular, so let's cover it. But for me, this stood out in terms of originality, particularly after what we talked about last week, where we said, has all ingenuity gone from the hobby when we're talking about paint and whatnot, and people were kind of painting by numbers, so to speak. This really stood out to me. I don't know what your thoughts are.
You could get the whole party for €25.
Right. So what you've got, there were 3 options when you backed it. There was the, I believe, 35 mil, 25 mil, and STL files for a printer. Now, I presume what you just pointed out is just the file, so you can print them.
It's so cheap, man. That's crazy. Because they're the masters, basically. Like they're okay. You might not be able to edit them, but like you probably can. It depends what they export it as. But like it's really cheap for the whole party for $25. You get all of them, and then you just print them on your own printer. I don't know. I was shocked. That's shocking. I would have assumed that STL should be more expensive, but I've never bought them to know.
I mean, the point is, if you shouldn't be printing them off and selling them. They'll jump on you if you do that. The idea is you print it for personal use.
Yeah, it's
still
cheap.
I don't know, because obviously you're doing all the work, aren't you, in terms of printing and production? I don't know. It's not something I know enough about to be able to say whether it's cheap or not.
For €125, you get the commercial rights to them as well.
Oh, do you? Okay.
I'm not complaining. I'm impressed that they're willing to release them without care. Like, let's get the bleh. Do you know what I mean? Like, you just don't. Not many companies do that. Yeah.
Yeah, the commercial ones are being produced by Scale 75 as well.
Okay.
They're doing the actual physical copies.
Yeah.
So
that makes sense. They're the guys I use as well.
Okay.
They're really nice.
So there's that. Yeah, I just really wanted to highlight it. Really, like I said, I did and ahh about it because I thought, well, the campaign's closed now, so you can't back it. I presume they will go to general retail after they deliver to.
Maybe not with this in mind, like. Because there's 3 back, so 3 people have commercial licenses. Maybe someone else is doing it.
Well, once they have, well, you'll be able to get it eventually then through those. But what I said is, once we do find them at World Expo, we'll interview them. I'll ask them the question straight away. They can either say yes or no. I couldn't see anything on my brief reading, but even so, even if you can't get a hold of them, I still think it was worth giving them a shout out and just saying job well done, really, because like I said, I really like how original the concept and idea is, and I've not seen models like that on the market myself. In our area, I've seen models like this in board games as board game pieces, but I've not seen models produced purely with the mind to paint. So yeah, I just wanted to highlight it, and like you said as well, Craftworld's style of painting really lends itself as well to the characteristics of the sculpt. So in terms of a project, I thought it was a really nice project.
Agree. This would be my personal favorite.
Yeah.
How about you?
I like the I don't know if it's but the one with the big red hair. I just really like the characteristics of it. I think it's a really fun looking character.
With the cuddly toy.
Yeah.
Cuddly toys always sell. Actually, cuddly toy reminds me of, which is a bit weird, but that model that has a cuddly toy, that weird sort of cat dog girl. Nah. Yeah.
No idea.
Someone will know. Somebody will know. Well, I don't know what they were after, but it did well. It looks like it did well.
Well funded. I think it was a fairly modest funding goal from what I remember.
Yeah, €2,500.
Yeah, and I think they hit 7,000 or 8,000 euros, so they comfortably made it.
Can't work out if you can just see it here.
I can't see it, no, because it's too small.
Okay, 7,375.
Okay,
so it felt like you were joking because you could see the number right there, and you were like,
no.
I read it.
No, I read it earlier on and mentally tried to remember the
7.3 after 2.5. It makes me think I should finish my Kickstarter because I've got one ready, but every time I see a Kickstarter, I'm always like, everything's just too like well produced, if you get what I mean. Whereas this is pretty basic. It's still smart and professional, but it doesn't have like these huge borders and.
Yeah, but also I think that's the beauty. I think that's a style choice they've elected for.
Version, isn't it?
Yeah, it's well presented in the sense that they let the miniatures talking, the paint jobs do the talking, because no doubt they've had to pay a bit for Craftworld to paint all those.
Yeah, well, what scale that is as well, like 55 maybe.
Sorry,
I was going to say, what scale is it? But it looks like 75 actually.
there were 2 scales. I can't remember.
Yeah, but just what scale the painted versions were.
Oh, no idea.
Yeah. I have had them a really long time. I got like some cast up. I got like 5 little. They're basically Dungeons and Dragons, almost the exact same, but much more conventional. It's like the classic.
Okay.
So this is kind of fun. Yeah, I'm not upselling Lionel. I'm just talking out loud about the hobby. I'm not like, oh, back my Kickstarter.
Well, you can't, because you'll never see the light of day. I know you.
Yeah, well, that's the problem. Yeah, but this does give me a little bit of hope where I could just be like, look, it's a fun project.
I mean, but once again, I think Kickstarters are a very good way to get your product to the mass audience, but be under no illusions. I mean, I don't know the process, but I can tell you now it's not going to be easy. It's difficult.
Look, I have started it up here.
Okay.
Hold on. Okay, well, I just called it a games project, did I? Oh, well, that's pretty boring. Yeah, I probably is quite boring. Oh, look, reward stories. Bloody hell, I did quite a lot. I'll click it. So the next topic, El subject, it's Krakosh, the heavy Kratos.
Yeah. So unless you've been living under a rock, it may have not passed. It may have not passed.
I've not seen this.
That Horus Heresy has been relaunched.
Also, why are they in Games Workshop?
Well, I'm gonna fill you in on the
juicy goosey
on the lowdown, Jamie. So yeah, so basically, you will all know now that Horus Heresy has been relaunched. Games Workshop have put a lot of effort, a lot of media and advertisement into it to push it, because essentially what they're looking to do is make this now a main game system. So Horus Heresy before was a game for the veterans, largely. Most of the stuff was sourced from Forge World, and what they've done now is they're trying to make it a bit more mainstream, whereby you can get them at your local Games Workshop, and the game is meant to be more accessible with a starter box. Part of that accessibility is this, and this is the reason why I wanted to feature this and look at it, is because these sorts of tanks, the Kratos and the tanks on this cases, would normally be exclusively Forge World because they would be resin built. I don't know what, James.
Just ignore me. I'm just checking how they built it.
Okay.
Sorry. Oh, I couldn't help it. I forgot I was even. No, go on. I was listening.
Yeah. Would normally be resin built. I kind of want you to go onto the spruce. That's why.
Oh, I'm out.
Yeah. So they would normally be resin built, but now for the first time, we're seeing tanks like this come in on plastic sprues. So in terms of accessibility, they're going to be at your local GW and your independent stores that stock GW.
That's bloody mental, that is.
But also now you're getting it in a plastic kit. So in terms of the reason I wanted to cover it is because we're seeing a
divergence.
A development in the way they produce. And I don't know what that means now for Forge World as well, because does that mean Forge World will now be freed up to produce other content? And
that would be bloody miracle, wouldn't it?
Or are we going to see a downscaling of Forge World? I don't know. Because like I said before, stuff like this was exclusively the realm of Forge World, where it'd be about
cheaper as well, isn't it? How much was the Kratos tank normally?
Well, the Kratos tank, I think, is a new tank, but it's on the cases that is used for other vehicles. And I'm pretty sure the one I've got is about 110.
Okay, yeah, so it is cheap. And it makes sense that it's cheaper because the resin is a lot less production. Once they get, they can spit out these a lot faster than they can the resin.
Yeah. But also, it's like I said, I don't do Games Workshop much anymore, so I've lost track of pricing. But bearing in mind its size, it's still not an expensive product, but a more pricier product than what you'd be used to. So the biggest thing you'd have in the past was probably the Land Raider, and the Land Raider.
What size is this? I wonder.
It's about the same size as Land Raider. The case is different. I mean, the shape's different, but it's not that much bigger. We're not talking about a super heavy tank. But a Land Raider used to retail about £40, so £75 is.
But that was 40 when. Wasn't that 40 when we were a kid?
No. Well, look at it now. Just type in Land Raider there.
Land Raider.
As you're on the website.
I suppose I am.
Bearing in mind, they made their money.
Why didn't it just? It's autocomplete. 52. Right. Okay.
That's 52 now, is it?
I suppose they don't have a scale here. Oh, that's a plastic kit. It's always been a plastic kit.
Yeah. So, what are you talking about?
Fool.
So what's the retail? Did you say 52?
Yeah, 52.50, mate.
So that Horus Heresy one at 75 is still a noticeable markup in terms of the biggest tank in 40k before, which was a Land Raider, was at that price. That being said as well, it can afford to be cheaper now because that model's been kicking about for years. They've made their money back on that.
Yeah, it's a web exclusive here.
Oh, is it? Okay. I do know they had to start rotating stock out because obviously as the range grows, your local GWs can't stock everything. So I think the Land Raider was one of the things that they had to rotate away from the shelf. But yeah, that was it really. I think it's an impressive kit because when I looked at it, the painted version, it's difficult to spot the difference between that and the resin.
It would be a lot easier to transport and carry
and paint and handle. But yeah, because the one I had was a session just to get the warping straight and then get it put together and pinned. So
£27.
Sorry,
£27 for the Morgan Ra. I'm not complaining.
Done with Eldar now, Jamie. They had their light. You complained about it. They're gone. They're done. Talk about Eldar. in 15 years' time.
I'll just quickly have a look. Hang on. Is this new? Yeah. 15 years. You're probably right. You can keep talking. I'm just quickly having a little look. All right. It's not. You can still get the old jet bike. I'll tell Juan about that. That they still sell it. Right. Let's go back to the tank. So yeah, it is an interesting development.
Yeah, and like I said, I think it's a nice kit, but I think it's more interesting to think about what does it mean for Forge World. Are they freeing them up to do other stuff, and what sort of stuff
I really hope so. It would love it if they could, because I don't know, probably like the best Forge World years were maybe like 2000 to 2012, maybe, where they were just doing like these obscure models that were maybe mentioned in the book once or twice, but didn't have rules, but people still liked them. And
nobody's going to buy models without rules, though. I mean,
well, Forge World wrote the rules, though, didn't they? Forge World would add rules in for them.
Yeah. I don't know. I mean,
it was exciting. Like, and then all they did was Horus Heresy.
They've moved from that model, though, haven't they? So obviously, Blood Bowl is now mainstream. When I say it's stocked at most Games Workshops, Necromunda is, but it's still a Forge World focused product. So
they're still both new. What was that? The last like 4 years or something?
No. Blood Bowl's on its 3rd generation of rules since it's been come back.
But that was Forge World. Well, then I stopped. 2015 was when I.
It's probably the most popular game system, Blood Bowl. Necromunda's very popular as well.
Yeah, I mean, they've got to make money, in fairness to them.
So it'd be interesting to see what effect Horus Heresy has in terms of whether it becomes more mainstream, but also is it in danger of as well cannibalizing 40k? Because is it going to be these days? You can't do more than one big game system, can you? Not really.
Well, Games Workshop might try. I mean, they're struggling with their shares and all that.
The world is struggling, though, isn't it, with shares? I don't think that's unique to Games Workshop. What's happened? So they've taken a 46-point hit, haven't they? 46% drop. But everybody has.
Bitcoin
I think the problem with Games Workshop as well is their share price was artificially.
Yeah, it was massively. Yeah, it was. Yeah,
rose because of the pandemic, which created a perfect storm for the hobby to grow. Yeah. But it was never going to last.
Be sustainable. Yeah.
As soon as the world opened up again, people would do other stuff.
Yeah. Well, I think other than me not liking the model,
that tank, you don't like it.
Well, it doesn't look like 40k, and obviously you argue it's not 40k. No. It's but however, it says dominate the darkness and beyond with 3 rules for 40k, so you can use it in 40k.
All right, okay.
There you go. Do like that's quite dark, which is quite nice, but disgusting. They're not disgusting. Look,
get off the Eldar. I can't deal with Eldar. From you. So much.
There's something I don't like. I've never liked about Horus Heresy. Really, is that it's only Space Marines. So I find that obviously the story lends itself perfectly to being about Space Marines. So I have no problem with the lore or the reason why they do it. I just don't like it. If you get what I mean, it's like a aesthetical thing. There's too many corners, hard edges. Like,
yeah, I think as well that's the main draw to it for some people, because the rules, and I'm saying this as somebody who hasn't actually read the rules, but I've read the older ones. Yeah. But in general, they're all Space Marines, aren't they? You know what your baseline is going to be.
Yeah.
And then they'll have different characteristics. Whereas it's so difficult to keep up with 40k with every race and and it's very difficult to balance 40k.
Yeah, well, they don't really need to. They just whatever sells more models, right?
Exactly. Look, it's not balanced, is it? I mean, I haven't played it for years, but everybody always says it's not balanced, right?
There's always like 2 or 3 sort of OP things in it that just blitz everything else.
And it's to be fair to them, it's been possible to balance a game of that size. Whereas I think why Horus Heresy has got more of a veteran following is it is more balanced because everything has the same baseline with a few extra special rules depending on who you pick. And that's what people enjoy about it. And I think as well, I don't know, or I'll say it anyway, I think maybe the lore is is focused to a more mature
audience.
gamer.
Probably because it used to cost more, maybe. Like that. I don't know if that's a possible thing, but it did seem like it was more expensive to play Horus Heresy than 40k. I don't know if that's true.
It was, because a lot of it was resin based, so you had to have the money. But I think
Yeah,
also
sounds
the
like
law as well. The law borrows heavily from biblical content, from historical content, and naturally, people who are more versed in that are likely
yeah,
to be
it's more
mature in
exciting.
years as well. So
Oh, what was I going to say? Yeah, I think also a big problem with balancing, like, there's two things to balance a game of 40k size. Is the first thing is, like, even like I use StarCraft as an example, right, where they have the user stats, so they have algorithms, AI that balances it, suggests it, and then they go through and play test it. But they have like hundreds of thousands of hours of data to back up. Oh, interesting. We're using my headphone directly without my little hack, and we haven't been pausing. So that's interesting. Anyway, so they've got hundreds of hours, and what they do is they balance it, but then somebody always finds a way around that balance, and the meta shifts, but people still find something that's slightly OP, because you can never have a perfect balance, is what I was saying. So
yeah.
perfect balance is impossible. But what Games Workshop don't do that StarCraft do, StarCraft just release patches. So they'll nerf X and Z and small things, and it will open up a new pathway, because obviously that side of the game is gone now. Because, like, if you had one unit that can just do this and it's too OP, they'll nerf that unit. And then that means that the gamers need to find new ways of exploiting stuff. But Games Workshop, what they do is they don't tweak stuff really. They do, but they just make a new version. You only really get one codex per model. Like, if they move to a system where they weren't releasing codexes, you'd do a codex online or an app, and you bought the app, but it auto updated, for example.
Yeah.
But it's very difficult to do that, isn't it? On a table based game. So
I think the problem with it as well is, like I said, it's difficult to talk about it because I'm not a gamer in that sense, and I've not gamed for a long time. I can't remember what the last three editions ago is when I played 40k.
Yeah, but the thing will still be the same, won't it?
Yeah, it's difficult to comment, but I think the problem with 40k, they created a beast which is so big that it's impossible.
Oh, that's what I was going to say. There's so many armies, aren't there? StarCraft
and
only has 3.
And so many elites in each one, and so many special characters, and so many. It's impossible. By the time you cycle round to the last one, the old one is too dead. And I think, like I said, I think that's why Horus Heresy is perceived to work better, because all the rules for all the armies are out at the same time.
Yeah.
So along with this release, you've got a loyalist codex and a what are they called? Traitor codex. And all the rules. That's it. They both come out at the same time. That's it.
Yeah.
When the tank comes out next month, the new tank, no doubt everybody can use that tank, but each one might have a different. So it's very easy to balance in that sense, right? When you're talking about different races and that, I mean, you could do it with 40k, but when you've got Eldar working the same as Orcs, you lose that kind of individuality.
It's very true. Each army has a deliberately unique trait overall, from each other. So it's and you don't have all those hours of, like, it's difficult enough when they've got the data to do it. StarCraft, Space Marine, like, thing, they just go on user feedback and what they've experienced and played. So on one side, like, I berate them and say all they'll do is push, like, stuff that will sell more. But on the flip side, it's really difficult for them to do it. Like, how can you balance something like that? I don't see how you can, really. No. Be our next episode.
Well, not really, because
we've
you and I
covered
aren't gamers.
Well, we'll
but
be
you and I
gamers
can't
for the
game
week.
It, so we can't. There's nothing worse.
Mate.
There's nothing worse than people who sit there and complain but have no knowledge themselves and can't complain by the sidelines. I don't want to be one of those.
Complainer. I've got a really good idea for an episode, though, for me at least. Well, we could do it in tandem, but basically,
Dragonhead producing Eldar fighting Dragonhead, or your favorite go-tos,
and probably programming somehow. Now, I want to buy a Games Workshop modern kit, and, like, put it together and give like a review on, because it's so far removed from third edition when I did it, to see if the experience is better. Because look at this bloody, hold on, mate, hold on. Look at this. Look at that. How mental is that? I read here, right, that there's 230 pieces.
Yeah, but there are 3 optional turrets on there. So...
Right. I still thought it'd be quite interesting to actually experience how to for a.
I've got to say, so obviously, in terms of GW stuff,
Yeah.
I've put together Blood Bowl teams because I do play Blood Bowl.
Yeah.
And
that's not one of. How many pieces are they?
I haven't counted them, and I've recently been doing some of the new orcs, and I have to say, after moving away from GW for quite some time, so I play a lot of MCP, which I really Marvel Crisis Protocol, which I really enjoy. After coming back to GW again, you do appreciate the quality of their sculpts. That's not to say the Marvel Crisis Protocol stuff is bad; it's very good, and a lot of it. But you forget how good GW kits are.
I do not know. So
well, there's hardly any mold lines on them. There's hardly any cleanup. The plastic they use is brilliant. The sculpts are good. When you look at them as gaming sculpts, okay, and that's what you got to remember. A lot of people say, "Oh, this, that," and they try to compare them to. They're designed first and foremost to be gaming sculpts. They are good. You know, in that sense.
Yeah.
You may argue about.
That's why I want to give it a whirl. You know,
you may argue about their rules and their game systems, but their models,
which is why they charge the most. They do charge the most, don't they?
I don't know whether they do, but also I'm not too sure that's why they charge the most. You get away with what you can charge, kind of. But they are still for me a market leader when it comes to gaming models.
Yeah, and I suppose they are in, you know, company and in quality. They have to be the best. If they're not the best, they're doing something wrong.
And also, they're too far ahead. It's playing catch up, isn't it? They're what they've got a 20-year head start on other people who jumped on now.
Easily, yeah.
And they're only growing. But yeah, pick up one of the new bits. I mean, you're going to have to pick up a new bit for Golden Demon, aren't you?
Yeah. Please, I only want to paint what I want to paint, which is never going to be a new model.
No.
I can't commit to that. That's not true. But look, what have I got here? Right. Okay, her. No way. Oh, you can't see. Like, I'm never going to paint her. I'm never going to paint that. I'm never going to paint that. I'm never going to paint that. I'm not going to paint that. The only thing I'll probably paint here is maybe him.
Okay, which is the worst sculpt there.
Best.
No, not the worst sculpt, but the most 8. Which one are you pointing at? I can't see where your cursor is. So
hold on. I can't. Hold on.
Just say his name.
Azurman. Oh, where's it gone? Come on, mate. I'll find it. Give me a sec. Yeah, there you go.
Every time. Where? That guy there, yeah, which is also the oldest sculpt.
Yeah, but that's not my fault. This happens to be.
No, but what I'm saying is you're picking something.
Yeah, that isn't going to win. Yeah.
Every time I talk about Hutber with you, I'll be honest, I die a little inside. It's like I can't. I really hope they don't get any new models or new codex.
Because I'll just complain.
Oh, I'm just so sick. Like the anticipation discussions followed by the actual discussions when they arrived, and then followed by the how sad you were. It's just like, oh my god.
But I always know that I'm not going to like them.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, but I've been talking to this lad from Instagram, right, and he's similarly minded in that he doesn't think they're bad, but he also doesn't mind the new ones. And I blocked him.
You blocked him?
Not really, but that's quite funny if I did.
I mean, in that sense, we're polarized. You've got huge nostalgia for the old models, and I do as well. Like even the old Blood Angels, I still got a soft spot for the old Dante and whatnot. But I can look at it and go, it's an awful model now by today's standards. Whereas you can't seem to see that.
But why do I like
nostalgia? All you see is nostalgia.
Why do I still want models sculpted in that same style?
God only knows.
It's not just the old models, because some of the old models are rubbish. Like, but I mean.
We've had this conversation so many times.
Yeah, you're right. Elder are
yeah,
the
it's
best.
tired. We're never going to agree on it. I just don't.
I'm happy to disagree as well. Like, I'm happy
Yeah.
to agree to disagree.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Old Hammer and Eldar. It's like.
And 75 mil Elder. I would love
Yeah,
Games
but
Workshop
I can
to do some of that stuff.
But I can appreciate those sculpts you've had commissioned, because for me they are good sculpts. So it's not that I dislike Eldar. I didn't mind Eldar. In fact, Eldar were probably my second favorite army in 40k. But since knowing you,
right,
you've put me off them, because it's just like Eldar, to the point now where I have a violent reaction when I see an Eldar. Like I have a side effect, drop down on the floor. She's like, it's just like so much Eldar. I still think they're one of the best rangers. If I put my objective out, but I don't think
the sculpts
as an army, an army.
Yeah, each their own, I guess. I'm going to Austria tomorrow. You know that though, but I'm going to try and do some painting while I'm there.
Okay.
Brilliant, eh?
Are you on a holiday? You're working as well?
Working, yeah.
Okay.
It's never a holiday when you're visiting your family-in-laws, is it?
I really hope they don't watch this for your sake, Jamie. If the right or the wrong people have watched this, you've annoyed your in-laws and you've lost a lot of friends.
Yeah. No, I mean
from the football,
they'll know it's banter, so they'll know. Yeah, sure.
What are their names? I'll tag them.
Yeah. Right. I think that's us, isn't it?
That is us. I think we've covered everything. We've negotiated this week's releases. 22
minutes over our agreed half an hour slot. So what happens when you have fun, Lionel? Time just flies by.
We always go over as well, though, when Eldar are in the mix. We always
no, that only added like 6
We're going
minutes.
to have like a red button that I can press. When you start deviating to Eldar, we can just press it.
Woo!
No more. No more.
What can we ask the viewers to do? Like, comment. The liking's actually less important, even though it was nice to see so many likes this week. I suppose importance is the thing. It's more enjoyable. I really enjoy the comments.
I do.
And we would love ideas.
As well before we went live.
Yeah. What?
I responded to all of them as well today.
Oh, very nice, very nice. I started responding from my personal account because I thought it was quite a nice differentiation between, so they'll know who I am. But we've got 56 seconds till the video runs out. So
I suppose the only other thing is, if you're going to comment, if there's any subjects you want us to talk about, stick it down below. Give us an idea.
Yeah. Indeed. It will save us time.
We'll see you next week. You're back from Austria by then, aren't you? When this goes out.
Yeah, when this goes out on Wednesday, I'm in Austria.
Yeah, but we'll get another recording done, won't we, before we go to Expo? Yeah. So we'll see you next week then, guys. Thanks for watching.
Probably not Wednesday. Indeed. Thanks for not watching, guys. Next week, I'll see you, Lionel.
Have a good holiday. Safe trip.
Cheers, buddy.
Safe
flight. Thank you. Yeah, I'll say hi to my mum. I'll see you later, mate. Like, comment, share. Right. 3 seconds. So remember, guys, Lionel cut off. It's actually unusual that we don't have a little what is the word? A little debriefing? I don't know. Where we normally just chat for a little bit afterwards, but because the video genuinely did run out 3 seconds before the video, it didn't. So I thought I'd take this time to come in and say thank you for watching. So overly sincere. And we do appreciate your like, subscribe. What is it? I think you've got to ring the bell, is what people say. But yeah, there's a little bell that you push on the subscribe, and it means you get a notification on your phone, if you have a phone, when we've published. Now, people might say that's too much. I subscribed and liked the bell for a couple of people. Interestingly, I get a notification when we publish a video. So there's something. Doesn't really mean much, really, when it's your own channel, does it? But yeah, thanks for watching this little 51 bonanza minutes. Probably longer now because it's 56. And any feedback, in a way, positive feedback is lovely, but in a way, like negative feedback is also good because we can learn how to improve, make the shows more engaging, blah blah blah. Makes it sound not sincere, but that's not true. Anyway, I've got to make a thumbnail for this. So I'll see you on the flip flop. Thank you, and I love you.